welcome in everybody out there. Thanks a lot for tuning in tonight. We got a doozy of a show lined up for you. It is going to be a great night. We got to talk about a lot of, different things. Talk about 9/11, the different places where we all were. Retouch on that. I think we got a special guest caller coming on the line. It is going to be an exciting show and should be quite interesting for everybody. We do thank everybody for being here. As always, we've got Gutterspub here with us. The philanthropist, the Instagram star, the lady everybody comes here to see. How you doing tonight, Gutterspub? And we like hearing from Gutters, even though she's muted. I
am sorry about that.
We are working on it. How you doing tonight, Gutterspub? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there and trying to figure out, how to work the buttons again.
I know it's been a while since we've all been up here. I've been, floating around in the Gulf of America for the past, week or so. Yeah, been a good time. LW here with us as well. LW, how you doing tonight, brother?
Oh, pretty good. Happy to be here after a long week to hang out with you fine people, and let's do it.
I like it. Let's do it. And here we go. We got Baker, Mr. Producer, coming in. Looks like, he's always doing the back work for us. So, let's hear from Baker. How you doing, Mr. Baker?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just getting everything set up. We've had a week off, so I feel like I'm rusty at this all of a sudden.
Rusty? Who's rusty? Nobody's rusty. I mean, we're just throwing this back together. Yeah, this is our fun Friday night. Obviously, tonight's not the most fun topic, but we're gonna go ahead and dive into it and have a good time. All right, so everybody, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna get started here in just one moment. So everybody, bear with us while we get everything set up, and we will be back with you momentarily.
Listening to the ASN Podcast Network.
Alrighty then. How's it going, everybody out there? Thanks a lot for being here tonight. Like we said, we are a little bit rusty. Coming back to you after not being here for, God, it seems like forever since we've actually been here doing this. We haven't done any shows, not even any college football shows that we know Gutters is always all about. We know she's always into those. And, thanks everybody for being here. So, we're looking at talking about some 9/11, but we did want to point out one thing tonight. And, we're really sorry to hear about the whole thing with Charlie Kirk and all that. Prayers for him and his family. And, that's just such a horrible thing to things like that happen. I don't know where we are with our country in such a state of division and things like that should not be happening. So we do want to give a big shout out to him and his family, and pray for the sanity of all Americans, and definitely pray for his family, and God bless him, and speedy way up there to meet his maker. So anybody else got anything they want to say about that?
Yeah, it's just a horrible situation to watch, for the whole country to watch. And he had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. It's just horrible all the way around, and just kind of gut-wrenching to see it all play out. But that's all you can do is pray for people, and pray for people to relax a little bit. And it's just a bad situation, but just pray for them. Pray for those kiddos.
Yeah, definitely so. What about you, Gutters? You got anything you want to speak out about this before we get started with the other stuff?
I know his wife just did a stream basically talking about him and wanting to thank everybody and for everything they've done. And you could just see it's devastating on her. I mean, but through it all, you could just see that she's a lot like him. And I think they'll be okay because they were a pretty strong couple, and I'm pretty sure she'll get through this, even though it's gonna suck without him. So, yeah, prayers to the family and Godspeed.
Like, what about you, Baker? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tragic. I think this country needs to heal a little bit, and I believe in America still. So, let's hopefully move forward from this better. But it's a tragedy, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I agree. And so God bless them. We just did want to, put out our condolences to the family, to everybody involved in that. So, that being said, so we're here to look back on 9/11 tonight. Well, we do have a special guest caller coming on here in just a minute, which should be interesting to talk to her. But so we wanted to kind of look at it, and everybody, it's kind of like the I hate to compare it to something like that, but Gunners, where were you when you watched and heard with the whole 9/11 thing happening?
I was actually working, and I was around a ton of old people, and they tend to keep you calm, so that was kind of good for me. But I just remember it being absolutely unbelievable, and for me it was probably seeing the people coming out of the building that was a little rough for me. So yeah, it was very rough for me. I had a really hard time with it. I'm a visual person anyways, so once I see something like that, it's almost like a thing where you close your eyes and you constantly see it. So yeah, I remember it was hard to keep together, even though, I had to. I was at my job, and I was a manager position, so it wasn't like I could just kind of fall apart in front of these people. So yeah, it was rough. I remember it being devastating. So.
Oh wow, yeah. So what about you, Baker? Baker, where was you?
He may be tied up.
Yeah, but Baker might be tied up with the caller. LW, how about you?
Oh, I had just moved to Austin, Texas, and even though I've been to the city a bunch to party with friends and stuff like that, I didn't know the city as far as driving in and out. I knew where my friend's house were and where the bars were on 6th Street, So whenever I visited there, I didn't really travel around to learn the city. But so I went to work, and I heard on the radio they thought it was like a commuter plane or something like that had an accident. So I didn't think much of it. So I get to work, and nobody is there. And just one coworker, her husband had dropped her off. And she was like, they closed everything down because at the time they didn't know if there was like 20 planes out there. They were trying to communicate with some planes, and they couldn't get in touch with them. And one plane they couldn't communicate with was in Dallas, so they just evacuated everyone in Austin in case they were going to just like go after like capitals in the country or whatever. So I was just like freaking out. I really didn't know. And when I went to go home, I got lost. So I was driving around the wrong side of Austin to get home because I took the wrong freeway. I took like the 360, and I just ended up on the wrong side of town. So it took me a couple hours to get home. I stopped and got something to eat. I had no idea what was going on. This is like about noon by the time I get home. And my roommates all walk in. Everybody's around the TV just looking terrified. And they're like, can you believe this shit? And I'm like, what's going on? So I didn't even know till like noon. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you remember every part of that day. You remember what clothes everybody were wearing around you. Like, that's just one of those days you remember the entire day,
Right, exactly. I remember I was driving in. I was actually going through Atlanta, Georgia, listening to the regular guys on 96 Rock. So I was driving to Atlanta, Georgia, listening to the regular guys. It used to be a great radio show. Eric Von Hessler, Super good show. And all of a sudden that news was announced, and it was, at first you didn't really believe that it was really like it took a minute for it to be like, wait a minute, this is a real thing, like this is actually happening here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty scary, but I mean, I think everybody remembers exactly like where they were when they heard that. So it was quite the thing. I like the fact that was like one point in time where it kind of brought all of America together, even though back then the division wasn't quite like it is now, but it did make one common thing with all Americans really could come together with one thing of, with love and compassion and, all those things. And I wish we could see a lot more of that in America now. So we do have a caller on the line. Let me, because we really do want to talk to her. But real quick, let me just go through here. Matt Dummett, good to see you. We got Kara from HR. Gumby, we got Esso in here. Good to see you guys. Big Dog Maul in here saying, let's roll, GG. Hurry up. Get this thing going. Scott, Controversial Cruising. We just got back in town. I got a package in the mail from you, and I have yet to open it because I was, kind of wanting to be surprised. But thanks, Scott. I'm going to get back to you on that. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to open that thing up. I am so excited. Good to see you, Scott. And Scott also coming in here with gifting out a Traveling Fools membership. Oh, it was a Gutters Pub membership. Well, I got a package from him, so suck it, Gutters. It looks like, he did give a Traveling Fools one, too. So, yeah, okay, we both got one. We both got one for Scott. I think Jay Shive's got mine.
Thanks,
thanks so much, Scott. You are awesome. Love you, brother. And I can't wait to open that package. I kind of wanted to do it. Yeah, you know what I mean. Maybe film it or something like that. Anyway, Song in here as well. Good to see you. Let's see. I'm scrolling on down. Mike W. I was just in your neck of the woods hanging out at the Caribbean Club there, Mike. I looked for you. Didn't see you. But good to see you, Mike, on here. Coin Dragon, KJ in here, even though she's too good to be here with us. She's down there having fun doing her thing. So we look forward to having KJ back on here next week. Multi says, howdy y'all. I was getting ready for work, and they called me to say, turn on the TV. See, even he thinks about it. Kentucky Blue Balls in here. Good to see you, brother. Let's see. If I miss your name, I'm just going in fast. We do have a caller on the line. Queen Fool in here. Good to see you, lady.
And I do want to say that Mrs. T was the one that got the membership from Controversial Cruising. So thank you, Scotty. And yay, Miss T.
We love Scott around here. Good to see you, Scott.
And we love Miss T.
All right, cool. Well, let's go on ahead and jump on into this call because I am really can't wait to hear what she has to say.
All right, yep. I've got the caller on the line, so you go ahead and you are live.
All right, caller, can you hear us?
Hello.
We're not hearing anything on our end, Baker.
Nope. I got some.
Are you there?
Yep, there we go.
There we go.
Sorry about that. That was my fault.
What a slacker producer.
I know.
We're
Hi,
a
guys,
little
I'm
green.
here.
Oh, it's good to hear your voice.
Yes,
So, hey, how you doing, Mishka? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Listen, if I usually don't do this, but I love. Oh, we're getting some feedback.
You're getting feedback. There. Is
Okay,
that
can
better?
you hear me now?
Yeah, we can
Yep.
hear you perfectly.
Yep.
Don't know what's going on that feedback. Sorry about this.
That's okay.
Yeah.
What's it sound like on your side? Is it echoing?
Yeah, there's an echo in.
Ooh. Let's reestablish a connection. I'll drop the call and then we'll have you call right back in, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mishka.
Like we said, we haven't quit our day jobs, folks. Yeah, so it is good. I don't want to tell you what Mishka's going to talk to us about because it's.
Hello?
Oh, wait, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
All right, is that better?
Hello? Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right, so Mishka, how you doing tonight?
I'm hanging in there, and it's only because I love gutter so much that I'm actually doing this, because I usually don't.
Somebody has to.
Somebody's
I
gotta
love
love Gutter.
Mishka. She's one of my OGs. One of my best OGs.
Yes, even before you had a channel.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
most
and
of
Mishka,
the-
you're not on speakerphone, are you?
Yes, I am. Should I come off?
That's the problem. That's
Yep.
the issue.
Okay. Sorry.
that's okay. No,
No, don't apologize.
we're still
Okay, I
learning
just came
too.
off. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you are louder.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
I
so
can barely hear you
Mishka,
guys, but
Mishka,
Okay.
you were. I guess I'm going to just kind of let you tell us about your experience with 9/11. I don't really want to like quiz you on it. I feel like that would be a bit, I don't know, like weird, and I really don't know the situation. So, kind of take it away if you would like to.
well, it was a couple of things. What was I going to say? I was in Two World Trade for over 26 years, so it was like my second home. And I was there for the first bombing, and basically, I don't know if anybody's ever read the book or saw the documentary. Rick Rascolia. If it wasn't for him, a lot of myself and a lot of my friends would be dead. Because basically, when the first tower, the plane went through, and we thought it was just an accident, we were evacuating the second tower, and basically, law enforcement and everybody was saying, go back up. And he was like, no, and he was evacuating the building, and he actually went back up, and he actually lost his life, and he sacrificed it for us.
Yeah, I
And,
did see that documentary. That guy was that was something special.
Yeah. And it's called The Man Who Predicted 9/11. And there were a lot of mistakes. Like and I've told this to Gutter, after the first bombing, you would think they would have like security. And I've told this story that my boss is he was almost 6'7", big Trinidadian man. And one day he forgot his badge downstairs. And my friend Amory, who's a 4'11" Irish woman, he got in the building with her badge. But meanwhile, they were allowing people like, plumbers and, all kinds of maintenance men. They wouldn't even go through security. So there was a lot of, when you look back at that stuff, stuff and everything. It was just mayhem, and then all kinds of stuff was coming out. Like they were saying there were no Muslims that day. That was a lie. There were no Jewish people at the Trade Center that day. That was a lie. And since then it's all these conspiracies and everything. Personally, I don't put anything past anybody. I'm a Capricorn, and then as far as the government goes, but my brain cannot function thinking that the government would kill people, but the government has killed people. So, it was just a mess and a disaster. And then by the time I actually got home, I live in Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn, and all the smoke and debris, actually faxes, burnt faxes and paper. My yard was, the whole neighborhood was filled with that stuff.
Yeah.
So, were you were in the building? You were in the second building when the first plane hit the first
Yes.
building?
Yes. In fact, you can have, there's like a 300, because the outer perimeter of each building was like all glass. So we actually, if you walked around the floor, had like a 360 view. And, everybody was coming up in the morning and, what's it called again? And I heard one of my friends scream, one of the coworkers scream, because she was looking out of the first tower, and she saw the plane go through it. But at that moment, we were all like, "Oh my God!" It was. We didn't think what it was. We just thought a plane just hit the building. And it was just mayhem for the rest of the day.
So, did you see the other plane come in after that?
We were downstairs by that time. Rick had gotten us out of the building, and we were downstairs, and it was just mayhem, confusion. There was debris, there was smoke. Nobody knew what was going on, and like Rick always says, distance is your friend. And we all started heading for the Brooklyn Bridge, which leads right into my neighborhood, and that's where we had to go. It was like the mission. People were hanging out, and I kind of understand it now. Then I was like, why are you standing around? And everything else like that. But you just get like a deer in the headlights. You just like, your brain can't catch up with your survival skills sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then to come home to my neighborhood and like the mayhem just followed.
Yeah, you were living in it.
Yeah. And then because my neighborhood is like right there, it became like the first responders hub,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else like that. That's where everybody was setting up, and it was like a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
So to get this straight, so they evacuated you guys out of that one because that happened, obviously, and it's next to it, and it's doing that. What was the evacuation like?
It was just people just running around. There was like no organization. It was just everyone for themselves, basically. And then, the police, the firefighters, they were all trying to, to organize to help people. People were screaming, bloodied, And that day is kind of fuzzy. Like, I don't know if I saw bodies. I just, that part of my brain has checked out. And, and everything else like that. And then it was like, for the rest of the week, it was, my friends were missing, and then we would just get the calls. They found so-and-so's body, and it was, yeah.
Yeah, that would be, even years later, it's still traumatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the firehouse that was right across the street from Two World Trade, they lost everybody. And we actually became friends. You're across the street, you go downstairs for a cigarette, and they'd be there, and, the hot dog guy, and they became like our friends, and everything else like that. And then to learn that everyone in that firehouse died. And because they were doing that. When everybody was running in, they were running. And when we were running out, they were running in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of heroes there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you were saying, I caught early when you first started the show, and some lady said this like last year, like with all the turmoil in the world, that she wished it was the day after 9/11. And we were like, well, that's a strange statement. And when you come to think about it, it was like the whole world became one.
Yes.
And it's like there was no Democrats, Republicans, wokey, stupid people. It was everybody was American. The whole planet was, how can we help? And a lot of seedy things went on too, like the Red Cross. I have to say, we were raising all kinds of money, and because you go in panic and you feel so helpless. And I was just donating right and left, only to find out that the Red Cross scammed us. Oh, no, this wasn't for the Trade Center. This is for something in California. And some lady bought like a villa, and everything else like that. So that has, it was like, are you kidding me? So as it was so good, that's how bad stuff was happening too, And, God bless New York, to make a buck. Like 3 days later, they had T-shirts, and everything else like that. It was a lot of emotions and everything else like that. And it's 24 years later, and there's some years like I'm okay, and there's some years that it's like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure due to what happened with Charlie, I'm sure this just kind of the whole shock value of everything, the traumatic. So I'm sure this kind of triggered it for you probably this year more so than it
Oh,
would
it
have.
was, yeah, yesterday. I actually, well, when I heard the news about him, and I really didn't follow him, but I knew of him and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But when that was happening, and then tomorrow was going to be 9/11,
Mhm.
it was like I like collapsed, and
Yeah.
I called my best friend, and who was there with me in 9/11, and it was just we couldn't believe like what the world is coming to, and everything.
Yep.
And so this is a very hard year.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I think the world needs to show more of that, especially Americans, that same kind of spirit that we had, during those times.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different. I guess I don't know where it went wrong, but there's a division there that people really need to come back together.
Yes.
Well, the problem is the division. I mean, that's been planned, so it's hard. I mean, that was done by design, so it's hard because there is so much division, and I mean, it's a huge gap between the two. I don't know that you're going to find an agreement, even with something so horrific. You will with the ones that aren't so far left or aren't so far right, but you're not going to with those people that are just, so far one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think that's, part of
Well,
the
I think
problem.
more people, or most people, have more in common than they have differences. You just have to find, you have to find that common ground. So, yeah, I mean, that story, I mean, I couldn't imagine. You're the first person I've ever spoken to who was actually there. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that had to have been, I mean, that's arguable. I mean, not even arguably, I would say is the biggest disaster. I don't even know if you call it, I mean, it's an attack, but, arguably the biggest, I don't even know the word for it.
Yeah, I mean, on American soil, yeah, I think it was the biggest.
Afterwards, you were just smelling burnt stuff for months and maybe into a year, and it was just this, and it was in your clothes, in your house. So, and smell is like one of the strongest senses, like
it is
like
the
you
strongest.
can get a whiff and that smells like grandma, and stuff like that, and it brings back your memories and your emotions. So it was like we could never get away from that. So it was like just smelling that day over and over again. And I remember a year later almost having like a breakdown. I was like, that's it. Get out the American Express card. I got to get the frig out of this place. And we went down to Jamaica. And I remember going on this little puddle jump thing, and I smelled the diesel fuel, and I almost like passed out.
I bet.
Just from that smell of the diesel fuel.
That PTSD kicked right in.
Well, smell is the strongest, like, memory linked sense is smell. So I mean, I could imagine. I mean, like you, and I'm not making light of this, but like if somebody was like, hey, we're having a bonfire party, that would be like the last thing that you would ever want to go to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
I had very bad panic attacks. I kind of have them under control now. I was always just a tad claustrophobic. I am always now aware of my surroundings. If I go to a new place, I have to know where the exit is. I have to know the area. I have to know how I'm getting home. I always, being a Capricorn, I always have a plan B, but now I have to like make lists to make sure that, okay, my friend's picking me up, but what happens if something happens to their car? I have to make sure I have like 14 other places to get home. And I don't like going in big crowds. I haven't been to a concert. It's just when too many people are around, it freaks me out.
Yeah, I can totally see why that would. I mean, couldn't even imagine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have enough trouble going to, huge events like that as it is. I could only,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's unbelievable.
Right.
Now, let me ask you, did you get any kind of support from government agencies or, just other,
No, not really. I mean, FEMA was down there. You know what it was? It was like I was okay, and I'm doing air quotes, and stuff like that. I really recoiled. I didn't ask for help. I did go. The time Morgan Stanley had, I was a compliance officer. They had like a help group, and I said, okay, let me go. And I went to the meeting, and it was me and my friend, my coworker, and we went there, and everybody's saying, oh my, like they're going through. I almost passed out. There were like 15 people in the group. Me and my coworker were the only ones that were there. Like there was some, this person was saying, she was going, oh, I don't know if I could ever survive this. And she was in London when it happened. So I was like, I can't relate to these people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, listen, things happen across the world and I, get a little verklempt and, stuff like that. But, I have to run to a support group. Oh, no. And, but I did seek out therapy and everything else like that. And I had a very good doctor. And it takes time, Yeah. And I'm very close with my family. And, my best friend lived 2 houses from me,
Those are all.
And, I remember 2 days later, we actually went down to the promenade. And if you ever see famous Brooklyn things where you're looking over to the city where like Moonstruck was filmed, and we were just sitting on the bench just watching the smoke all in New York, we were like we just sat there like, what happened? Like our brains couldn't function. I think I have I always keep a diary, and I know a couple of pages were like missing only because I had no words. Nobody knew what exactly happened. I know when the first plane hit, okay, it was an accident. When the second plane hit, everybody was like, 2 oopses. Like, no, this can't be happening. And then somebody said, we're under attack.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a question about, because I remember why, just like everybody was watching people like you go through this on TV, but I remember the news speculating on how many people were in those buildings, and they were like, there could be like 50,000 people in those buildings, and there was reports back and forth. And then it turns out later there were less people. So not saying like, obviously, but it could have been worse. But I was just curious about what they were speculating about, like how many people were normally in those buildings and they weren't that day for whatever reason. Was it supposed to be? Was it a special day or something to where there was less people?
But
yeah,
I don't know about less people. The concourse at the bottom of the Trade Center was filled like usual. People were coming off the train. A lot of people cut through the Trade Center because it was faster than walking around it to get to their jobs. Everybody in my office was there, and my friend was in 5 World Trade, and they had a full house there. So, and I saw the usual, coffee guys, hot dog guys, out on the street, I have to say it could be because, what was it, like a little over 3,000 people died.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like
it could,
the news, I remember everybody freaking out. Like, oh no, there's 50,000 people in there. Like, it was amazing that many people got out.
Today, every day, like, I say a prayer for Rick because he basically saved everybody in Two World Trade.
Right.
There were a couple of fatalities and stuff like that because he was like, do not listen. He said, get out of the building. And then his last words, and we were close to him. We used to see him all the time. You know, he'd always come into our office area, you know, to get a cup of coffee or something. And he was a real piece of bread. And I remember him going back up. I have to check. And that was the last time we ever saw him.
Yeah, after watching that documentary, that guy was a real American hero that day.
Well, see, I might be, I don't mind admitting I'm ignorant on this. Can you tell us a little more about Rick and who Rick was? Because I haven't seen the documentary. I'm going to admit that. You know, it sounds like this guy should, you know, I would like to hear more about him. So, and what he did, if you can do that, obviously.
I'm not sure if he was in the military or something like that. I believe he was in law enforcement, and then he became the head of security for the World Trade Center. Everybody in security reported to him. And a lot of things like surveillance, everybody having a photo ID, and codes to get into the floors and stuff like that. That was really him. And then he would always have these like security drills. And but he was a hands-on person, even though he had thousands of people working for him. He was hands-on. You'd always see him at least 3 times a week. He'd be up on your floor. He would always make the rounds in the trade center. And he would talk to everybody, and he always left, hey, if you need me, you know where I am, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, just a sweet soul. And he took his job seriously. After the first bombing, he was very frustrated because they were like not listening to what he was saying, you know, and he was like, he wanted certain measures. I don't know what they were. I wasn't privy to that. But he was just walking around. And he was saying, you know, this was a practice shot, you know, and everything else like that. And I think they tested I mean, these are years later, what we're thinking. They were testing the waters with that. And you know what? Rick was 100% right, you know. And, but just a good guy and everything else like that. And he took his job very seriously. And he loved New York. You know, well, back then it was better than it is now, but, you know, and stuff like that. New York was a different place then.
Yeah, I haven't been to New York since way before this happened. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, right. You know, I don't know the New York like you know. You don't live there anymore?
I live in Brooklyn.
Okay, so you still do live in New York then?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. And when everybody talks about New York and all the lefties and all those people, that's really Manhattan. Manhattan sort of kind of controls New York.
I got you.
Kind of like Portland controls Oregon.
Yeah. I have not been in the new tower that's there. If I'm going down the West Side Highway, I do a sign of the cross. I have not been to the reflecting pools. I just can't do it. And maybe someday I'll go there, you know. So I mourn my friends in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Everybody has their own way of mourning. So, I mean, do you look at this Rick guy as, you know, like he saved your life? I mean.
Yeah, no, I do. You know.
Well, God bless him.
And there's a lot of people that my friend Stefania feels the same way. A lot of people, it's like almost, you know, and a lot of, you feel mad because you're like, why didn't they listen to him? You know, like, and it's like just, he was so adamant and he knew his stuff. But you know what? Money talks. And I guess certain security measures Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have stopped the plane, and everything else like that. But he had friends in other law enforcement things, and he was saying it since the first bombing. He goes, "We have to get prepared. This is not the end." And he said that very often, and nobody listened to him. So that's the part I'm very angry with. But on the flip side, I was like, wow, he sacrificed his life, and he has a family, and yet at the end he was selfless and saved thousands of people. They were telling us to go back upstairs.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, the
like,
documentary.
No, it's just the plane in the first building.
And he went after he was getting y'all downstairs. People were telling people to go upstairs, and he went back upstairs after he got y'all downstairs to get them to come downstairs, right?
To make sure the floors were cleared. And because we knew him, I didn't listen to anybody. I was like, no, Rick's saying don't go up there.
Right.
I was like, no. And then I was like, it was happening, and I was like, I am out of here. I started heading, with the debris, the smoke, the this, the that. I just knew where the Brooklyn Bridge was, and I knew just get over that, and I would be all right.
You would have done it way different, knowing what you know now. Would you not have? Like getting out of there immediately, like.
Yeah, because we did hang for like a little bit, only because I think the shock value, like what is going on. But I think we should have started going down sooner.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it makes sense if you're
didn't know what was going on, because they were like, "You guys are fine. Go back upstairs."
Well, what is the distance like? I don't really remember this, but what was the distance between roughly between one building to the other?
Oh,
Like
at
what,
least a 10-minute walk across the concourse. I don't
Okay.
know.
So it's 3 blocks.
They look close, but they're not.
Right, because they were so big.
And remember, we also had the shortcut, because there was like the concourse where the PATH train is. That's all underground. So not only do you have the people upstate, in the towers, there's this whole metropolis underneath the Trade Center, which has the stores and and of course the bar, because it's Wall Street, and the PATH train and the banks. And so there's this whole little community underneath the Trade Center.
So where were you by the time the first tower fell?
I was already out on the street, we hadn't moved yet. We were like, what's going on? And then we were actually on the Brooklyn Bridge, and the thing went down.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one. And then my building went down soon after that.
So, I mean, did you see the plane in the air?
Now, when you talk, I'm sorry?
No, I was asking, did you see the second plane in the air? I mean, did you actually have to witness your building getting hit, or were you already long gone?
No, I didn't. Like I said, there's parts of that day that I just, whenever I close my eyes and try to think of that, I just see total like a war film, smoke, things flying around, people screaming. Yeah.
That's absolutely traumatic.
But when you talk about looking back on things, with this conspiracy, like the government did it and stuff like that, when I was on the 59th floor, and they had these air conditioned ducts, and like I said, the whole wall, the outer wall was all glass, and my view was the Statue of Liberty. And me and my boss would sometimes stand up on the air conditioning ducts and what's it called again? And we would go, hey, if this building ever fell, you think we would make it to the Statue of Liberty? We have dark humor. And that whole floating thing, that's the only thing that I question, that buildings that side didn't fall into each other. And I'm not an engineer or anything else like that, but they imploded into themselves. You know, like I said, that's in years to come. That was the thing that was like, what? You know? And especially Seven World Trade. That's the one that they always question and stuff like that. I was like, these buildings imploded, like nobody fell over. So that's always been a question in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've personally never really been, one of those ones with there's too many eyewitnesses to things like that, to the timing, the everything. I really think it was, just a tragedy. I've always had trouble buying into the conspiracies on that. I love a good, you know us, I love a good conspiracy, but I've never,
Right.
right, you laugh, see, I love my conspiracies, but I've always had trouble with that one. Like,
I think if you delve into it more,
dove.
that you'd question more of
I've
it.
dove. Yeah,
I don't
just
think
have
you
trouble with
dove
that one.
deep.
I have trouble with that one. And Mishka, you could probably sit there and tell anybody, better than anybody else. You were there, so what say you? You don't believe in the
like
conspiracy
I said about
stuff.
the conspiracies and stuff like that. I do question that the buildings imploded, nothing toppled over. I'm not sure about that. And
Right, how they all three kind of just fell
So,
straight down.
Okay. So if
they imploded in themselves. And you're telling me out of all those buildings that went down, especially the two towers, not part of the tower fell over into the East River, which was right across the street. Didn't take out the Trinity Church.
Which would insinuate somebody did it.
Which Hamilton is buried there. You would love his gravestone.
Well, that's the thing about the conspiracy on that. There's so many different ones. So when you say, when people say, do you believe the 9/11? Well, it's like, which one? There's so many. But
yeah,
and
true.
some of them are pretty silly.
And that whole
some of
thing
them are
was
pretty silly.
They took out what's the guy that owned the buildings or whatever. He has an insurance policy. It's on the internet. You could see it. What's it called again? It was like a couple of days before it happened. It's it's all these little things. But when I start going down the rabbit hole of conspiracies, it depresses me too much because if it was a conspiracy, my friends are dead because of it.
That's right. You're so close to it.
Yeah. The only one I would probably.
And then you get.
No, go ahead, Mishka.
Oh, sorry. And then you get survivor's guilt. Like, why am I alive? And then I understand people, it's so weird. Like a lot of people were saying, and I'm religious, but I was like, when people said, oh, God was watching over you, I think that depressed me more because then it was like, wasn't he watching over Chet that died? But people get awkward when things like that happen. So they, like you say stupid things at funerals and stuff,
right.
And everything. So that was the thing that really affected me a lot, the survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
And then it became, I almost want to sometimes do like a social experiment. It almost came like a pecking order. Okay, so you got help and stuff like that. Okay, you were dead. But since I survived, I felt like I had no worth, oh, you didn't die. So a lot of times people were like, well, you're fine. I was like, no, I'm not, And so it almost became, and then it was then people, because, everybody wants to, get a trophy. It almost became like, oh, I was right on the corner. And then it was like, oh, but I was right down the block. And I don't know. I don't think these people were bad saying it. It's just like I was turning around and go, look at this. Everybody's trying to get a trophy. Who was closer? And I was like, what? I win the trophy. You're
right.
If
we're going to do trophies here. Right.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, Misha, because I've seen that in some of these documentaries I've watched and stuff like that, where people have that same emotion you have. They're, you see these people go online. You know, I was in 9/11. I was there. I was,
Right.
you know,
Right.
by the buildings, and it's like, oh, well, you worked at a donut shop like 37 blocks away.
Yeah.
Not to diminish it, you know, that was probably horrible just being in the city, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I have seen people who were in the building talk about that, like, okay, relax a little bit.
Right.
Like, you weren't like running down the stairs like you were, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to even imagine. Like, yeah, you know, and I see what you're saying there with the trophy thing. I mean, it's a lot of like these, you know, these sports teams. You know, they're New York, but they're in New Jersey, and they try to say that they,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's like everybody wants
Yeah.
to be a part of. You know, oh, I was there, but yeah, you were, you know, at the airport on a layover. You know. So I can understand that. Yeah, I mean that's an amazing story, really. I mean I've never spoken to anybody who was actually there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And there were a couple of, I have to say, funny things that happened. If you can find humor in this, okay? By the time I got home, that's when I call it like this nuclear cloud came over my my area where I live. And then people were running because there was actual pieces of paper and trading blocks and faxes. We were cleaning our yards for weeks and everything else like that. And people were running. I have to say, I have a hardware store on the corner, and they were giving out masks and everything. But I had one of my little soirees at my house the day before on that Sunday, because this happened on Tuesday. And so I still had platters and cases of soda and everything. So when people were running, I was like, go in my house, you know, and here I have like cheese platters and stuff. So like the joke was, no matter what happens, she's always prepared, you know, so people will always remember that, you know, in my neighborhood and stuff like that.
She's that way with everything, just so right now. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She's prepared no matter what it is. She's if you need to know something or whatever, she's like, oh, it's this and you do this, and she's got it.
Well, anytime Gutters ever talks like this, I want to hear more about these soirees.
He's smart.
This little soiree. Yeah, no,
soiree.
I have, you know, a tree does grow in Brooklyn. I have a beautiful backyard. Gutter has seen pictures of it.
Yep.
And we just all get together and we all kick in like $20 and we hire a waitress and we all kick back and a bartender, and it's, you know, life is too short. You have to enjoy your friends.
There you go.
It's true.
Gotta do her.
I don't watch the bells, the reading of the names. I haven't done that for at least 7 years now. One, it gets me too depressed, you know, because when I know my friend's name is coming up, my heart starts pounding and every emotion comes in. And it became a little bit of a circus, like people fighting who's going to be speaking. And then I felt, and I don't have children, but my soft spots are with children. And it's like, their moms were pregnant and they're putting them, now they're on stage having to read a name. You know, it just bothers me, the manipulation of the children to get a click on TV, you know. And well, that's how I take it. Let me correct myself. That's how I take it. This is like, oh, here's little Johnny. He never met his father. And I'm like, don't do this to the kid. You know, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, everybody wants to be, you know, that person all the time. It's kind of sad. I do love the Tree Grows in Brooklyn reference, though. I mean, that, oh my God, that was one of my grandmother's favorite movies. I've seen that movie at least 40 times. Because remember back in the day when you had a VHS player and you only had like 9 VHS tapes or 7 VHS tapes? That was one of the ones that we had. So I have watched that movie so many times and I love it. When you said A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, I was like, huh,
Yeah.
I've seen that movie so many times.
We sure were way more appreciative back then than we are now for all the stuff we have compared to what we
Yes.
had back then.
Yes.
It was a different world then. And like political division wasn't really the same then. I mean, I think a lot of the issues, and I think social media has really ruined the connection between people and the ability to come together over things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I remember.
in my
I remember.
neighborhood.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You're the guest. We want to. You're the guest. People can hear my stupid.
No, I was saying I've noticed my neighborhood changing, and it would be like we're called the leftovers in my neighborhood. Families that have been in the neighborhood for over 100 years, and now all, it was first the yuppies and everything else like that. And I'll like go into CVS, and it's like, who are you talking to? Like, it's like they feel entitled to tell you how to do something. Oh, no, I wouldn't get that. Or why are you doing that? I'm like, shut up. Who are you? And everything else like that. And no customer service anymore. And it's like, who are you talking to? They'll bump into an old lady and almost knock them down and like not even excuse me, pardon me, ma'am, or something like that. And so that's sad. So that's like really sad to see that. And I have to say, I had to almost be like a closeted Trump supporter because the first time around, because there were parts, like I said, I'm going to get a brick through my window. And then I was like, oh, if I got to feel like that, I have to move. I was like, no, I'm sorry, Grandma. We had this house 100 years, but no, got to get out of here. But then I was like, no, nobody's going to silence me, and everything else like that. So I got this huge American flag in my front yard, and everything else like that. And I'm proud who I am. And if you don't like it, too bad, And I think a lot of people have to be like that. And that's why I think the other side is winning, because I think our side, we just go about our business. We want to live and, be fair and move on, and everything else like that. I don't think we have a voice,
So you're saying you
into
voted
more
for
fights.
Hakeem Jeffries, right?
Yeah.
So
My neighbor,
you
the
had
new people that
Pelosi
moved
before
in-
that, didn't you?
I'm sorry?
You had Nancy Pelosi before that?
No, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's bad.
And
You're
I'm
trying
a
to
live
make her
and let live
sick.
person, and I remember I was outside hanging my We the People flags. It was around 4th of July, and my nephew just went into the Navy, and my neighbor came, and she was like, oh, so how do you feel and whatever? And I was like, good for him. I said, I have military in my family going back over 100 years and everything else like that. And then she kind of said, well, us, so she goes like, I think it was like Hillary or something like that. And I was like, oh no, I'm the other side. And she actually like clutched her pearls, that expression. And it was like, you're that? And I was like, yes, I'm a Second Amendment conservative. I went down the whole list, and she was shocked. She was like, and you know what? She very rarely talks to me anymore. And like you were just saying before, everybody back in the day could have differences, but we didn't shun people because they believe something else, And so you're not going to, I was a good neighbor 5 minutes before we had this conversation, and now I'm not a good neighbor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your loss.
Yeah, now they can't borrow the egg.
Yes.
Like I'm your neighbor. You can't walk over and say, hey, do you have a stick of butter I could borrow? I just realized I can't make my...
because they were doing that because I have every kind of garden tool known to man. And they were like, you have the tree trimmer. Could you just throw it over the fence? And nope, sorry.
Yeah, I found a sad thing in that. Like it was mainly like it started with 2015, and there were people who were like not going to be your friend, and they're like your oldest friends, and I do kind of see it cycling back. I think different things in life change those things, but it was sad to see like people unfriending, like, and I don't mean on social media. I mean in real life. Like, I can't be your friend if you're this person. It's like, well, I've been your friend your whole life. I mean, like, how is this possible?
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. 9/11, after 9/11, politically, and in Hollywood, it didn't last as long. It was kind of good for a while, but it went right back to, I mean, they used to call Bush Hitler instead. Kanye West in 2005, he was out there with Mike Myers. George Bush hates black people. Like it went right back to, but it was the citizens that were different. Like you said, we could sit on the porch, talk about politics, and have a drink, disagree, get heated, but then we just joke and keep drinking and just air our differences out and talk about them. So this is just, it's so different, so different.
Yes. And I think that with the social media, and it's a bunch of cowards because they sit behind the keyboard and they think and there's no repercussions. Like, I don't know if they would have the balls to say things to like a person's face,
I think there's something that people have to do now is give people a little grace, just a little bit of grace because when you go out and touch grass and actually talk to people out in public, I do it a lot all the time. Most people are sweet people. Most people want to help each other. Most people, at least where I am, I mean, all different walks of life, different races, different religions. We all get along relatively well. And I think that's what the majority of the country is. It's a very loud majority. And a lot of them are people who spend time on the internet 24 hours a day, and they're controlling narratives, and they're the ones doing the crazy shit, Yeah. And I think people have to realize
time
that.
On their hands.
Yeah, most of us are just we're all doing the same thing, just trying to get back by in life,
I agree. I was reading chat while I was listening to you guys. Bobby said something. What was it, Bobby, that you said you wanted me to ask Mishka? It was back here. Bobby, type it again.
Well, I'd like to see everybody get back to, the problem is it takes tragedy to make people come together. People shouldn't need tragedy to make people come together. So, that's kind of a sad thing.
Yeah, that's very sad.
I mean, and not to bring it up again.
I think, when Trump got shot, I think people that might have been on the fence were like, oh no, it's his very iconic thing when he got up and was fight, fight, fight. I could just, you heard the people. There's a historic bar across the street on the corner and everything, and all the men guys was like, they just erupted, and everything like that.
Well, it just kind of almost gives you encouragement to keep going on. Don't give up. Just, even through all the shit shows. Bobby said something about Mandani. Whoever that is. Mamdani. Is that somebody that's running for New York City?
Seriously, and like I keep repeating it, my home has been in the family for over 100 years. But there's like 4 of us on the block that are like, do we rent our houses out for 4 years if he wins? Then there's this thing he wants to do, like you can only own one home. So if me and my family have worked all our lives, and I wound up and I have 2 homes. He wants to take, like, there's all these bizarre land. Meanwhile, he's living in a rent control apartment, okay, in Manhattan. and he has money, and he has a security team. Meanwhile, he wants no police. He wants social workers. Okay, no police, and that, I'm sure you guys see it too. Like all the congressmen and senators,
Oh, he
they
sounds
don't
like
want
a
us to
jam.
have guns, but yet they have security guards with guns. So it's all right for you to be safe, but I can't safeguard my family, and everything else like that. So right now I'm in Pennsylvania at my family's house. I am doing a round robin to Brooklyn so I could go vote, and we're all up here. So we're all going to get in our cars and we're making a trip. I mean, we all vote all the time because I have this thing: if you don't vote, you can't bitch.
That's right.
And we're all going in that day, and we're gonna vote and pray. Like we did with Trump.
It sucks living behind enemy lines, don't it?
Yeah, I'm always always on my
See,
toes.
I hate the people who are like, well, it doesn't do me any good to vote, so I'm just not gonna vote. Like, if that's the attitude, that's like a losing attitude. Nobody wants to be a loser.
Yeah.
Get out there and vote.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if so many people have that attitude, that it sways elections.
Well, I do think that there was an issue there with one of the elections. There seemed to be a
Well, wait on.
But the thing about it is I think that is why the trust tend to waver a little more as of recent. Now, I think things are getting back to a little more normal, and people can kind of trust what's going, what's being done there. So let's hope that that's the way it continues. But
keep mailing them in, Gutters.
That's a huge problem.
No, that's the safest way. We know that. That's what they tell us.
Yeah, totally
So,
safe.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Well, Mishka, so, like, I don't know how to, I mean, you can stay on here as long as you want. I mean, you can keep talking about this, but I don't want to, like, drag you on. You've already given us, like, 45 minutes of your time.
Oh, no, that's fine. If you have any other questions, or if somebody in the chat has a question, and I'll answer it and then jump off.
Right, that's what I like. I don't want to like keep you here and like quiz you. I mean, there's a million questions I would like to ask you, but I don't think a lot of them are appropriate. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Right.
So.
Oh, go ahead. Give me your top 3 of inappropriate questions.
Okay, well, Gutters would be the first one to do this, so take it away, Gutters.
No, you're gonna.
No. Well, okay. So, I want to ask one. I mean, how many people, if that's okay, like, I mean, so you had close friends, I mean, that ended up passing away because they couldn't get out? I mean, is that something that happened?
Yeah, well, one person worked for Cantor Fitzgerald. That's the company that their whole company got wiped out. They were on the top floor of Tower 1, and when the plane went down, the building imploded and they all went down with it. And so, in fact, one of the girls that worked for me, her twin worked for Cantor. So that day she lost her twin. And that was a little heartbreaking. So there were people that couldn't get out of the building. I mean, Tower 1, they took a big hit. Like I said, Cantor was on the top floor and they lost everyone in their company.
Yeah, it's amazing. What floor did you work on? Still there?
I think we lost.
You guys still there?
Oh, there.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Uh-oh.
That's weird.
I have no idea what happened.
Hello?
It just went. Can you hear us now? Michka?
She can't hear us.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Mishka.
She might want to call back.
I guess we'll have her call back, yeah. I don't know what's going on with that.
Right, we can try that.
That's weird. I didn't touch anything. I was just sitting here listening.
Sure, Baker.
No, I didn't do anything. I swear to God.
Yeah, super interesting, though, to hear those stories. like I've never actually talked to anybody who was there. So I mean that's quite crazy to hear. You know?
Yeah, that would be and yeah, very traumatic to go through.
Yeah. And that documentary, I mean, obviously she experienced a whole lot more than just but that kind of gives you of what she saw, is because it shows a lot of people took pictures of him like in the stairwell, like that rake guy she was talking about. It's you know, it's a good documentary if you kind of want to see what happened and get the details about, you know, how they got out and stuff like that. That'll kind of give you a little idea. Obviously she knows way more, but that'll give you a good idea if anybody wants to check it out.
Yeah, I've never watched that documentary, so quite interesting to hear. I couldn't imagine being in there. That's amazing.
I mean, that would be my first instinct, is like, I don't care who's telling me to go up, I'm going down. But, you know.
Oh, there's no way in hell I'd have gone back up in that building. I mean,
right.
No. The one next door to me, I'm going to go on ahead and, you know, just, take the day off. Fire me. So I'm trying
I've got Mishka back on the line. She's back.
Okay, cool.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. We're fine.
All right, there we go.
All right. So that was your first question. You have two more.
Well, I think somebody else should take it. Well, the second thing I was asking you, what floor did you work on?
59.
And how many was there in total?
102.
Okay, so you were basically, you know, a little above middle. Yeah, that must have been crazy. I mean, like everybody going out at once. They were kind of like telling everybody, "Let's get out of this building."
When I've seen pictures, it looks like the plane came right through my office. Like that's the midpoint for Tower 2.
Oh, sweet Jesus!
Wow.
Well, God bless you, Mishka. I'm so glad that you know that you're here talking to us.
And I had to take two elevators. We'd have to take it up to 44. Transfer and take another elevator up to get to my floor.
Oh, wow.
Now, you had said earlier that you were like, if I just get to the Brooklyn, was it the Brooklyn Bridge you said?
Yes.
Yeah, if you just get there. How long did that take you from once you exited to like get over there, and like how many people was it?
I got home
hard to
maybe
like
3 hours later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, to put that in perspective, what would a normal time have taken you to get there to there? Yeah, you know what I mean, because we don't know New York necessarily.
Well, I will not walk over the bridge by choice, okay, and everything else, because even though it looks like it, there is a big incline. But I've had friends that live in Park Slope, and they walk back and forth to work every day, and it takes them like 45 minutes.
Okay, so you walked then. Okay.
Yeah.
And just the amount of people slowed it down, right? Like
just the amount of people not knowing what's going on. And remember, there were blocks that I couldn't like see. You know, there was all that smoke and chaos, and you didn't know what was happening. You know, and people bumping into you, and like I just said, total chaos to the 10th power.
Yeah.
I did when I finally got home, and it just so happened everybody was by my sister's house in Pennsylvania. And I just remember leaning on my gate with all the smoke and debris, and I lit up a cigarette, and I was like, all right, I'm going to like die alone here. But I lit up my Parliament 100, and I was like, all right, let's see what happens. You know.
Parliament 100s. I like that. Parliament 100s. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. At least you weren't smoking Newports, so you know you've got that going for you.
No, I couldn't take the menthol.
Yeah, me neither. So LW, you got any other questions there?
No, I was thinking, talking about that other documentary. I saw another one. You were talking about all the smoke. Now, were y'all going? Because there's one documentary that shows the camera angle where somebody runs into like a pizza shop or something, where they're a few blocks away, but as it collapses, this just giant. It's almost like a horror movie, where all the smoke just covers these tall buildings, and it just goes down the street, and just like the person filming the camera, everything just goes white.
Yeah, it's almost like a tsunami in smoke form.
And y'all are like running away from that, and it's like the smoke is like chasing y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
And it's just weird. Like Trinity Church is right across the street from the World Trade Center, and it's just weird. It was buried in soot and paper and everything else like that. Not one headstone fell. And it's little things like that that I find fascinating. Like, you know.
I remember
that's
seeing
amazing. Go ahead, Gutters. I'm sorry.
I remember seeing the pictures of like just the smoke boiling, all the dust and the debris just boiling down those streets and the people running. It was literally snapshots of, and it was just, I remember thinking it looked like some like sci-fi movie. It's kind of what it reminded me of. And I remember thinking that the people that were on the ground at ground zero, of them looking up and them thinking of almost like the whole Bigfoot, King Kong type of, just because of the sheer, of the sheer force of it all. Of course, you guys obviously at that point were far enough away when it did fall, but I just couldn't even imagine. I'm sure there were still people running from it by the time it did fall.
And then all that stuff came into my neighborhood. So it was like I escaped one thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, wow, that's a heavy thing of smoke we're smelling. And then all of a sudden the cloud like consumed my entire neighborhood. And then then we were getting like hit in the head, and I was like, what is this? And it was like a piece of paper, half burnt piece of paper, and and stuff like that. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's almost like you were, like next door to Mount Vesuvius, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could only imagine the whole, everywhere around would have been like a volcano eruption for, days and days afterwards.
Yes.
Wow. Well, Mishka, we don't. You got anything else? I really don't want to make you rehash all this like over and over and over again for hours. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know this is a hard topic for you to talk about, and you calling in is like absolutely amazing that you could do that, because I've never spoken to anybody who was actually there. So. I thank you so much for coming on. That's, it's emotional, and it even makes me feel that way. We made
ourselves a little family, especially me and Gutter, it's like a sister,
That's right.
And everything. So I feel like I'm in a safe zone, so whether I cursed, cried, or whatever, you guys are there. So.
Yep.
Well, yeah, she's like a sister to you. She's more like a redheaded stepchild to me, but,
They beat me daily.
Right.
Oh, no.
But she always comes back.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, isn't there a syndrome for that?
Yes, there is. Different show. We'll do that Tuesday night.
That's right. We're so glad you came on, though, Mishka. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're very welcome, guys. Take care.
Hey, Mishka, I pray for you, and like honestly, and God bless you, and God bless all your friends, and
thank you.
The people that you knew, and that's traumatic, and I do hope you find peace with it all.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
All right, love you, Mishka. Thanks for coming on
All
with
right,
us.
love you back. Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks, Misha.
Well, that was very interesting to hear. Baker, what do you think about that? We haven't heard from you in forever. Thanks for running those lines there. What do you think about all that, Baker?
I mean, it's fascinating to hear a first person perspective on what was actually happening on that day. Cause I remember where I was at, and everybody remembers like that point in time, like that exact moment. Everybody remembers that was alive during that day. And just listening to her first person perspective, it kind of puts me in a different frame of mind, I guess, like putting myself there, because again, we all have a general relative understanding of what was happening that day and where we were at that day. And it's like almost you can teleport yourself to when it was happening, maybe at ground zero, and just hearing that perspective. I mean, it's heart wrenching, but I think it's important that we don't forget this kind of stuff, in American history.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy in all aspects. What do you guys want me to do now? You want to put the call-in number back up, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, if you want to put the call-in number back up, and if anybody wants to jump up here and talk to us about where they were at during the 9/11 encounters, I mean, yeah, I would love to hear what everybody else was doing.
Well, Baker, you want to explain the call-in to people, speakerphone off, all that kind of jazz?
Yeah, well, same rules as applies to when you call into a radio show. You can't be listening to us live and then call in and then wait. There'll be feedback or echo. You want to be off speakerphone. You want to be talking. I didn't actually explain it to Mishka when she was on, but I was in the process of getting everything else ready. But anyways, yeah, you don't want to do that. Any and all data rates and whatnot. That's not us. That's you. Although I just say that because that maybe there are some people with landlines, so I'm just throwing it out there. But anyways, yeah, just be aware and then be patient with me, because when somebody calls in, I've got to do the hokey pokey back here to make it to bring it in without interrupting, and then also not causing any kind of sound bleeding over. And yeah, I'm moving dials, so
He sounded
bear with
so
me for a second.
pure, didn't he?
I know, he's so pure. Hey, big
listen.
shout out though to Fly Crew going over there on. It looks like. Not even exactly sure. It looks like Fly Crew going over there, dropping Gutters Pub a $5 super chat. That's all on you, Gutters. There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fly. Haven't
Also
seen you in
been
a
a
while.
member. Look at this. Been a member of your channel
Nice.
for 14 months. So
Yep, he's one of my OGs.
yeah, big shout out to Fly Crew. Thanks for the support. That kind of support is the stuff that lets us keep doing these fun things and stuff like that. So big shout out to Fly Crew. Thanks for supporting Gutters Pub over there. And I just want to give a big shout out to everybody watching right now. There are 102 people watching. This is streaming out to Twitter or X or whatever we're going to say. It's going on LW's channels, Gutter Pub channel, and over here Traveling Fools channel. So thank all of y'all for watching. Sorry if I missed any of y'all's chats, but thanks to everybody for being here. That was kind of an intimate conversation there. So we're back with you. Good to see Macklin Griffin in here. Good to see Son Honey coming in here. Good to see Bobby Bag of Donuts in here as well. Always love to see Bobby Bag of Donuts.
Bobby has actually, he lives right there close, so he can tell you all kinds of good stories.
Right. We've got Icy on here. Good to see you, Icy, as always. Yeah, lots of fun people coming in and out tonight. So thanks everybody for being here. We really do appreciate you. Each and every one of you.
Now, I've brought this up in the past, but one of the fascinating, I don't want to say conspiracy because it's actually scientifically fact. One of the things that came out of the 9/11 incident, or tragedy really, was the information that we picked up from the Global Consciousness Project. And the fact that, there was an experiment, just to kind of give people a background on this, there was an experiment that began in like 1998. And scientists were trying to detect like a possible interaction between a global consciousness with the physical systems kind of thing. So there would be a distribution of random number generators kind of peppered throughout the world. And it's what they believed would be the output is a correlation of widespread emotional response to, especially during world events and whatnot. And what they found was 9/11, before the second plane hit, the random number generators started going insane. Before that, it's almost like people were bracing themselves for something worse to happen, and it happened. But it happened before, and they've got all these data spikes that show this. They also have been still carrying it on throughout. Even I think it's still even going on now, if I'm correct. But anyways, they found these correlations, and it's just kind of fascinating that, who would A, think about this stuff, and B, it's like, is there another fabric of reality that, this shows that we have, in contact? Because like me, I think it goes on without saying that, like, you can tell when other people are upset, right? You can kind of feel it, but maybe some people say, well, you're projecting it, and we can just tell because your attitude changed or whatever. But like even me, when I walk into a room and I'm like, uh-oh, somebody, this feels like a group of angry people,
Right, you can feel the tension for sure.
You can feel the tension. So it's just kind of interesting. But yeah, that global, I implore people to check out the Global Consciousness Project. Again, it's backed by scientific facts. It's not at all a conspiracy theory stuff. It's actually real. So yeah, we can probably do an entire show on it, but there's just so much background. Like you got to know like we'd have to describe what a number generator even is and why it's important and all that good stuff. So it would be a deep dive show, but yeah. Anyways, and also the one conspiracy theory that I think that I still have questions about is, I want to say it was Building 7 that imploded, and it had nothing. It was across the street and across the block. I mean, you had like the Verizon telephone exchange right next to it, and another set of buildings, but that building in the middle.
It was
all of a
7
sudden,
hours later or some shit.
It was weird that building all of a sudden, it burned down and fell. It's like, what the heck? I will say one of the things that Mishka was talking about is. And I've done structural designs on and this is completely different, but at least on like a cellular tower, I've done structural designs in my career with those, and those are designed to spiral down and collapse in on itself. And from what I understand, when I went through that schooling, is that high-rise buildings are kind of built the same way, where they're supposed to collapse from the top down to where it just kind of implodes on itself. Now, and that's not to say that if something were to push it over, I guess that's one thing, but they are designed to do that. But on that particular day, I think that the structural engineers that were doing the study on it, they didn't have any, those buildings were designed to be hit by planes, and they didn't have any kind of proof of, okay, the jet fuel was burning at this and it caused the girders and the steel to expand and then it compromise the integrity, and then the top part of the building is what fell down first. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I guess it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, if those buildings were supposed to be impact resistant, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well, the only one
sorry,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Fools.
No. I was just going to say, I did drop the StreamYard link as well. There is the call line right there. If anybody does want to jump on, you can call this number or you can click the link to call in. We do only bring one person up at a time, though, because we want to hear each individual's thoughts. We don't want a panel of nonsense. So there is the link. Gutters, I think Gutters ran away for a minute. Must be about that time. So, Anyway, go ahead, LW.
I was just going to say, as far as conspiracy, there's a lot of crazy ones out there, like, the planes were hologram, like, just all this kind of nonsense.
Well, yeah, but nobody can still explain to me what happened at the Pentagon, because the plane that supposedly hit it
That's where I was going. That's where I was going.
Okay.
But yeah, and to the warnings beforehand that the administration or that people in the administration presented to like Condoleezza Rice and George Bush is like people are planning to use planes to attack American, passenger jets to attack America. And these are months before 9/11, in the summer of 9/11, before 9/11. And it just seems to all get ignored. And all these people from Saudi Arabia were all in America training at flight schools only to fly the plane, not how to land it. And, you just have all this information and nothing is done about it. And then it happens. And then we go to war with Iraq. And then you find out, oh, well, a year before, they all got in a room with Dick Cheney and Wesley Clark. It tells this story that he was in a room and they're like, well, in this administration, we're going to attack, we're going to regime change Iraq. We're going to go into Iran. We're going to go in this country. And we're going to go in here, there, wherever. And then 9/11 happens and we go to war with Iraq when all the people who were on the plane were from Saudi, or 15 of the 19 were from Saudi Arabia. The others from Afghanistan, I think. But yeah, so it kind of goes in that Pearl Harbor thing. Like, did they know it was going to happen? Did they let it happen so they could get the American people behind the war to get into the war? And in this case, did they let it happen so they could go do their thing in the Middle East that they wanted to do?
Yeah,
so
like
that's
a red flag event.
Right. Like, that's my major thing, that they sacrificed American people. And then when you look back at what they tried to do with Operation Northwoods and JFK, it's not out of the realm of possibility or sound crazy, does it?
No, not at all. And I mean, it has always been known that, especially on one side of the political spectrum, they had an issue with Saddam. And I think that issue wasn't just about oil, and it wasn't just about Kuwait. It had a lot to do with something we've talked about before, and the central banks, and how Saddam was trying to get away from that. Same thing happened to Gaddafi. Look what happened to Libya. I mean, there is a trail of war that's been left behind because of certain countries wanting to get away from the petrodollar and go away from the centralized banking system.
Like Gaddafi and in Libya.
Like
right,
the Titanic.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But, the thing is, just going back to kind of like when that day happened, like and you can actually still find this on YouTube and other places, but I remember when the Pentagon got hit and they said, no, the Pentagon's on fire. And I remember CNN broadcasting video footage they captured from, I think it was like an ATM video camera that was pointing that direction. There was like an ATM across the street or something. And yeah, it was a blur. But even if you size up the blur and you pull that, it's like there's no way that's a 747 or whatever size small passenger plane that was. Right. I say small, I mean it was like a 70-seater or maybe a 120-seater, but you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that was a Boeing.
Well, I remember this specifically, and it was right after 9/11. I went into a Walgreens, and they released the Pentagon tape, and it was only that one view from the security gate, right?
Right. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was a security gate. Yeah,
it was a security gate. You see like a police car, and it's like it's a security gate.
The video was very choppy because it definitely wasn't running 30 frames a second. It was like running 10 frames a second or something.
But here's where my common, just logic kicked in for me. I was at a Walgreens, and they were saying that that's the only one they had available. And they still haven't released other videos or anything from there.
Yeah, it just so conveniently happened that the Pentagon was being remodeled on that side.
They're probably with the moon landing tapes.
Well, but I was at a Walgreens, and I was looking around. And this was right after, right after 9/11. I'm looking around. There's a video. There's a security camera by the front register. There was a security camera by the photo department. There's a security camera at the door. There's a security camera outside the door. There's a security camera by pharmacy. And I remember thinking, I was looking around, the most secure place in the world only has one camera, but Walgreens has 9.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like common sense and logic. Like
We had more cameras at my high school than that.
right?
Yeah. No, that's the one that I'm hung up on still. That, like I said, the building 7 or building 12. I can't remember what the building numbers were over there, but that one at Pentagon, I'm like, what the heck? Well, no way. But still, it's like, do you guys remember? Because I remember what it was like in this country before, because I grew up near a military base, and before 9/11 hit, I could just go out on base as a civilian and just kind of just exist. I couldn't like go into the buildings, and I couldn't use some of the facilities they had that was open to military families, but I can go out to the parks, and I can go out to any of the outdoor recreational places, and that was all open. You used to just be able to drive on base, no big deal. And then as soon as 9/11 hit, I mean, obviously they shut down the bases, but they made it to where they had checkpoints. They had bomb sniffing, dogs all over your vehicle that had to be checked before you went in. You had to give them your license. You had to give them your purpose. When you plan to leave, I mean, it was like really locked down. And the other thing I remember, which still irritates me to the day, is when you traveled, you never had to pay for any check baggage. It was all free. Mm-hmm. And then they said, well, now we have to have TSA, because I remember like going to the airport, and you can go walk back to your terminal even without hitting any security, right? You can wait for family members at the terminal just like you're at a bus stop. And then they came out with these, well, now we've got to charge you $50 because we have to pay for all this extra added security, and we had to upgrade the infrastructure and this and that. And everybody was like, at the time, was like, fine, I get it. And everybody said, this is temporary. This is temporary. It's just like toll booths. Nothing's ever temporary. They find a cash cow, and then they're like, no, we're just going to keep this in place. It conveniently just left everybody's speech. They're
never going to add a tax and then take it away.
No, never. Well, that wasn't even a tax, though. That was just an added fee.
But anything, a fee, a tax, anything.
Sure.
Like we went and stood. It was so funny. We were, of course, like right when we're taking a rental car, 50 hours ago, 40-something hours ago, back to a place. It came down the biggest pour down rain, that I could ever think of. And then we had to go get on an airplane, and my pants were soaking wet, everything. And I changed shirts, I changed everything, but I didn't want to go through there in like a bathing suit. So I was trying to wear like jeans on the thing. I lit up like a Christmas tree going through that thing. And they finally figured it out because my pants were wet. So they had to like go through this whole thing of like, grabbing me every which way but loose. I mean, and the guy did a pretty good job.
You smiled when you came out anyway.
Oh, Gutters is back. Gutters, I did drop the link. We're only going to be live for about another 20 minutes, but I did drop the link in my chat as well. If you want to do that in yours, I know you got some people over there. If anybody does want to come on, there is the number. The link is pinned in my chat. I think Gutters has been slacking, but she's, left us for a while.
Hey,
but
yeah.
Here we are, back.
I went and refilled my drink.
Box wine. Why don't you just bring the whole box over?
It's not.
It's not like it's...
At that point, it'd be paladin wine.
Right.
Paladin.
You guys remember those stupid threat level warnings they had on CNN and Fox News and crap? It says, "Oh, we're at a medium threat level." Do you guys remember that crap that they would have on their screen all the time?
I have to go make a pit stop here, and I'll be right back. But yes, it was like you'd wake up on a Tuesday, it was orange, and then like, all right, everybody, it's only yellow today. And then on Thursday it would be red, and like, oh, this is crazy.
Well, that's like during the plague. Do you remember, like, I think it was like CNN and MSNBC, like they had that ticker going that was like how many, passaways. We got to be careful on YouTube saying the words that we say, but they had like the ticker going, in the far right screen. And then as soon as the election was over, it was like, that was gone. It was so ridiculous. The updated thing. So yeah, if anybody wants to give us their thoughts, jump on right now, because we always keep this to a 2-hour show, and we are closing in on that mark, keeping it to 2 hours. What is up, P. Did it's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you in here. I just now finally caught up. I just scrolled down to the bottom of the chat. Sorry if I didn't say hey to anybody that was up there. I did see a Genocide coming in there asking if we got the trivia questions. Yes, Genocide, I did get your trivia questions, and they are going out this week. We've been out of town. We've been traveling around. So, yes, trivia back this Sunday night, and your questions are going on there, Genocide. If you're still here with us, yes.
There's a caller on the line.
Got a caller on the line. He mentioned that he goes by the Donuts. So, Donuts, you are on the line.
Uh-oh. This is going to be fun.
Hey.
What's up?
Hi there.
Hi there.
You look cute in your picture. I'm the donut.
Hey, thanks. Thank you, Bobby Bag of Donuts. I always try to look good for you. What's going on, Bobby?
Oh, you caught that right away. Hello. Well, it feels like a reunion. I miss you guys. I truly do. Hello, all my gutter peeps, traveling fools, and everybody else who's here. Hello.
It's
Happy
good to
Friday.
hear your voice, Bobby.
I hope you're all doing well. Oh, I miss you guys. I had to calm down a little bit. I really had to readjust my life. I was, well, some of you, those who know, they know.
Yeah,
we know.
But happy Friday. I see you guys. Yeah, what is this on a Friday? I hear you guys have Friday shows going on. I'm interested. I see you guys are talking about, well, we're just past the 9/11, 24 years. And then the whole thing with, well, there's a lot happened this week.
Yeah.
What's up? I wanted to chime in a little bit.
We want to hear.
Fly on the wall, or you could bring me in. So, hello everybody. Hey, all the gutter peeps. Don't forget to smash that like button. And it's been a while. So, hello everybody. I didn't forget about you, and thank you guys for having me on. So,
always good to hear from you, Bobby. Always good. We love you over here, Bobby, on all these things. So what's your take, Bobby, on all this? And please try to keep it, somewhat. We've been trying to, slide our way through the YouTube algorithms a little bit, but, so help us out a little bit there. But what's your take on this?
What?
On the 9/11 thing. I mean, you're in New York, huh?
Okay. I work for over 2 decades. I am in the construction trades in New York City. The physics just don't match the reports. And important parts of the reports that are like what someone would consider a smoking gun were completely ignored. So it's more an open line of questions that were never explained, and physics just don't match. Like the evidence doesn't match the story. And unfortunately, us peons, us pesky citizens, don't have the pull or the power to drag out what really happened. Any logical person, when presented with some of what we're left to look at and try to put together as puzzle pieces, any logical person would say that these are all parts of a different puzzle put together, and none of the explanation matches up. And that's really where I'll leave it. I can't make any claims. I really can't. I'll just, what I'll leave it at is steel core structured buildings like that don't have zero gravity, free fall implosions into their own footprint. And this is really what turned me on. And I'll leave it after this. I really have no more input. My grandfather was a very militant person. He was in the army all the way. He grew up in the 30s during the Great Depression. This man was no nonsense. He was a big German fellow, would tell me bubble gum was ishki. I couldn't chew gum. He liked black licorice, and he was the most militant man I've ever met. Anytime I went on a wild idea, he was like, that's not how life works. And then one day after 9/11, he had gone down because for 40 years, and probably more than that, but for 40 years at least, it was his career. He lived in the city as a fireman in Brooklyn on Dean Street. There was an old Dean Street firehouse. And he eventually worked himself up to where he was FDNY and Fire Commissioner of West Islip Fire Department out on the island at the same time. Like, this man he dedicated his life to government service. And he was not the type to entertain foolishness. And after 9/11 and shit, I looked at him one day and I said, did those towers really collapse like that because a plane hit them? Because I don't believe it. I don't believe jet fuel burning. They didn't bend. They didn't morph. None of it twisted. None of it showed any sign other than zero gravity collapse. I said, you're telling me a plane hit and it did that? And he just looked at me. He didn't even say anything. He just looked at me and shook his head no. And that was the most he's ever, you know what I mean? He wouldn't speak about it. He was on the inside of, you know, the government resources of the services. You know, he could have been one of the ones we lost in the collapsing of the towers. And that is really, I was like, wait a second, you mean there's fucking credence to any of these claims? You know what I'm saying? And I grew up scared to death that Saddam Hussein was going to blow us up with weapons of mass destruction. I was in 9th grade when 9/11 happened. So I was a kid. I was impressionable. I actually was scared. We're going to get blown up by a madman in the Middle East. So it was my introduction to things aren't always as they seem. So I just started asking questions. And it turns out the more questions I asked, the more hate I got. And I started getting angry, going, stop fucking chewing me out for asking questions. I'm mad because I never get any answers about this shit. And nothing of what you say ever adds up. So, you know what? I don't trust a goddamn thing you say. And that's really where I'm at with 9/11. I can't prove it was an inside job, but I could show you interviews where Larry Silverstein himself said when it came to Tower 7 and it was burning, they said they saw enough loss of life. So they said they decided to pull it and they watched the building fall. That's Larry Silverstein on 60 Minutes. I can't make this shit up. I'm just.
But how often do you trust a guy whose last name ends in Steen?
I didn't say it.
Well, I'll
Sorry
put it to you
about
this way. When what he said matches exactly what my eyes observed, I'm a little more inclined to believe that because that actually matches what we witnessed. You know what I mean? We decided to pull it and we watched the building come down. And we saw Tower 7 over a couple of small office fires completely implode on itself. It wasn't even hit by a plane. You know what I mean? And then you start going down the rabbit holes of, well, what was in these offices that were hit in the Pentagon and then this gouge in some Pennsylvania fucking field that's been there since 1994 on satellite images, and there were no parts of the plane? The ground, the solid earth just fucking swallowed the plane whole. It's the lack of information that leaves people to question. So what they, you know, what all the people, what we are, what I am, I'm a man who's lost in the woods, who has a few different torches that are lit throughout, and I'm trying to put the whole fucking forest together. I don't know, but I'm not going to be swayed in any direction that I don't
Isn't
have
it,
something to
Bobby, let me ask you
my
this.
Perspective of it.
Let me ask you this, Bobby. And we always have, there is like a 1 second delay from caller to, you know, because going from caller to person here. So, you know, we all have to learn to bear with that and learn it. But, you know, when you're a call line, but I agree with you there. It's the lack of information. It's always the hidden information that isn't put out there that makes people question things. It's almost like they want people to question things, almost like a smoke bomb they throw in your face. We'll give you a little bit of information on this, but we're not going to give you everything. So we're going to leave everybody out there. I wish they would just give us all the information out there, and then we could all have it. It's always like they hold back just to make people question it.
Well, that's where I was talking about earlier. Logic comes in.
Here's my opinion, real quick, and I'll shut up because I really want to hear you guys.
No, you won't, Bobby. No, you won't shut up. You never shut up, Bobby.
But
we love you,
my
though.
thing. Why? What? When people argue, when people get contentious with each other, when people are debating opinions, it's always my side of the story and your side of the story. There's always one side. One side. No matter what perspective you're coming
Never
from,
that
it's what
third.
side. And what they do is they put out their side. So it's only one side, and it's left up to us to fight amongst each other to decide what those parts of their side means anything. It's intentional division through omission. That's really what it is. We are set up to argue with each other. That's really what the fuck it is. Because we all know if we came down to brass roots of what we all want, it's the same fucking thing. I could see us all camping around a campfire, sharing drinks, having laughs, listening to music, and having a grand old fucking time. But here we are arguing details of the slightest bit of information we get delved down from government who pulls off some of the most tragic shit on humanity. It really comes down to that. We are the pesky citizens.
Well, a normal debate.
I want to hear what you think.
In any normal debate, there is three sides to every story. There is this person's side, the other person's side, and the truth. When you put the government in there, now you have five sides of the debate.
Right. It's like Bobby said about,
or
you know, I try to,
that's up to government.
You know, I try to go by what we know. You talking about all the information we don't have. That's all I can go by is use logic, apply logic to what you're telling me, right? So it's like Bobby said about the guy on 60 Minutes saying, which he did. I saw, you know, I'm sure everybody's seen it. You know, we decided, you know, we said pull it. Well, in that world, pull it means demo it. And then logic kicks in. It's like, well, how could you go wire that thing to demo it that quickly? That takes weeks to demo a building like that. So, and then there's just always a contradiction, things that just don't make sense, and you're just supposed to sit there and just not ask questions and just kind of wonder, well, wait, what does that mean? Pull it. How could you wire it that fast?
Well,
yeah,
that's
it's
the
insane.
thing. Like, if you didn't leave so many holes or inconsistencies, I never would have even dug into your explanation. The fact that I'm still left with questions means there's holes in your story. I went to school and to college
100%.
to become a homicide detective. I'm a detective by nature because I can't help but notice these small...
Did you say homicide?
It's more of a curse than... A homicide detective.
Oh, I thought you said homo.
detective's
Sorry.
easy.
You
Just go down.
confused me.
No, you go down to Midtown during June, and you got all the homicide you need. You don't need to go to college for that.
TF would be whistling "Stranger in
judge.
Paradise" down there.
We just make jokes. If you can't laugh, you're in the wrong fucking laughcast. I'm sorry, but yeah. If I'm sitting there with questions, I'm gonna have questions. And it's that simple. Like, if someone comes to me with a question, I either have an answer for you, I don't know the answer. You know, it's one or the other. You know what I mean? And it's the fact that your explanation doesn't match any of the potential answers that would make any kind of sense. And we all know, I don't want to say too much, but we all know that we're not the end-all, be-all when it comes to demanding information, is all I'm saying. Classifications exist for a reason. They do. And I think once a certain amount of people get their hands on classifications and deem the rest of the public pesky citizens, you're never going to have all the information. So how are we even ever going to have an honest debate? There is no honest debate other than us pesky citizens never get the full facts of any case, so we never have a fair chance to hold discourse. And when it came to someone like Charlie Kirk, people would attack him, say, I hate you as a person, I think you're evil, and he's still like, well, do you want to sit down and tell me why? He was the discourse bridge that this country needed. We all talk about no one could have a conversation no more, and that's all he did. He went into the fucking trenches with these people, and he was making a difference. He was making a difference, and we all know that they took over the education system because kids are impressionable. Yep. Well,
and I think it's sad how separated a lot of parents are from the education that their children are getting. I mean, the world we live in now, I mean, most households, you look back at talk about the baby boomers how you will, but their parents came back from World War II, and the world was a different place. They taught what children needed to learn in the schools, blah, 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 not social concepts and all this jazz. Let parents figure those kind of things out. Those are the kind of things that parents should be teaching. Mm-hmm. Schools should be, hey, you're going to learn how to read. Hey, you're going to learn history. You're going to learn math. You're going to learn algebra. You're going to move on. It's not just math no more. Now you're in the algebra. Then they're going to say, you're going to learn trigonometry. And you're like, fuck that. We don't want that. It's not going to do us no good. Then, social studies. How do you, balance a checkbook? How do you do these certain things in life? That's what they should be teaching kids, not a teacher's opinion.
Well, I might shock you guys, but I'm going to give a lot of credit to former Democrat and former indicted New York City Mayor Eric Adams for the fact that he's pushing an initiative for financial education for kids in New York City. And I am also going to extend credit to corrupt, belong to the cage, wicked witch Kathy fucking Hochul. She is pushing an initiative for free breakfast and lunch for students. Those two actions is the type of stuff we've been asking for. So I give them that much. But they don't want you learning about those things. What they've been doing is the left, especially in the city. New York City is the worst. I will put it to you this way. I was working in New York City in 2020 after George Floyd, and there were preschoolers wearing vests and signs and marching in Cadman Plaza with grown adult teachers calling cops bastards. These were preschoolers, kindergartners, first graders. I witnessed this firsthand. I'm in Cadman Plaza, working at the building 32 Court Avenue, right across from the courthouse where they filmed Chuck and Larry. Literally, Chuck and Larry. I work in New York City. I work in high-profile areas. Cadman Plaza, 32 Court Street. After George Floyd, these kids were running around ACAB. There was people everywhere, young teenagers trying to get Cynthia Nixon elected. I was like, what the absolute fuck is going on here? This is out of control. These are children, and you're dragging them throughout the streets around bums, around the dregs of society for your political purposes. They should be in school learning how to read and write. None of these kids can do math, but they want to cut their pee-pee off because they know that they belong to be another fucking sex. It's sick. It's sick.
Right. Well, different show for different night, but I do agree with you, Bobby. I do agree with you. But different show for different night. Those are Tuesday nights over there on Gutter's Pub. We're going to burn that place to the ground. Yeah. No, you got me. You got me. I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too sideways on this one.
But
yeah, I don't want to take away from like YouTube will go in there and take us out of an algorithm for that, and I don't want to take away from Mishka's thing there. Yeah, if that makes sense. So.
Well, I think I've gone on enough of a rant. I'm just gonna hang out in the background as a fly on the wall, and I'll be like, "Hey, and how are you?" from here on out. I'm just glad to be back. I'm sorry. I guess I owed myself a rant. I don't know.
I love Bobby rants.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack the live.
No.
Well, you got a peeps, and I'm here. I'm chilling. I'll take a breath and crack a beer.
No, thanks for the call. It was a good call.
About being back online. It's been almost a year. You know what I mean? I haven't
been a while.
It's got to been almost the better part 6, 7, 8 months. I haven't been on. Now I got a
No,
lot
we're
of
glad you
built up.
called, Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby. Bobby, thanks for calling in, man. We always do appreciate you. Bobby Bag of Donuts are right there. Thanks for calling up, Bobby.
Yeah.
We always appreciate you.
I
and
love you
Bobby.
guys. Yeah.
Yep, love you
And
too,
God
Bob.
bless everyone. We're at a turning point. We're at a turning point in U.S. history, and the fact that these guys are on and you're all here is absolutely awesome. We're a community of people who just love life and freedom to pursue our happiness. So thank you guys
There we
for
go.
having me
American
on.
way.
I'm still going to be watching in the background. Thank you for I'm sorry. I know I did go on a rant. But, all right, guys. You guys have a blessed weekend. Make it the best weekend ever because you all deserve it. You know that.
God bless
You
you,
as
Bobby.
well,
Thanks
Bob.
for coming up, brother.
Godspeed.
All right, well, there we go. Bobby Bag of Donuts checking in with us. Always good to hear from him. Yeah, I guess we're going to go on ahead and wrap this up in a minute. We are over the 2-hour mark that we try to stick to. That, that was great. What do you think, Baker? You back with us?
He left. No.
No, Baker's still here. He's running all
No,
that
I'm
shit. He's
still
probably
here.
with-
Sorry, I was making sure that remember I got to do a juggling act in the background. No, that was good. When he called in, he's like, "Oh, hey," and I'm going to go on this is usually a backstage rant for me, but now I'm going to bring it on the forefront. When I answer the phone, I don't know what to fucking answer the phone with. I just said, "Hey," it's like we need a goddamn show name.
I know it.
Just do it how I answer the phone. Hello?
Hello, LW.
Hello.
LW, you do it a lot grumpier. LW answers, he's like, hello. He's like always mad to answer the phone.
Just do it like an operator. Hello.
Right,
How
you
are
hold your
ya?
nose.
Hello.
But no, it was that was a fun call. Whenever he says, he's like, "Oh, you guys have live moderators? What the?" And I was like, "Oh." Anyways, yeah, that was a good one. I like.
No, I love Bobby. Bobby's great.
Mr. Bobby.
I love
Yeah, he said he
Bobby.
was an OG, and I was like,
Yes.
I don't.
Oh, he is an OG.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they call that an old Guido, I think.
Guidos, yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, good to hear from you, Bobby. Bag of donuts. All right, so Mishka, thanks so much for calling in tonight. I hope you're still out there. That was very inspirational, Mishka, and God bless you. Gutters, you got anything coming up this week? What do you got going on?
Just, our normal Tuesdays. We'll come up with something. I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about. And, then Friday coffee clubs. So, yeah, would like to do a members only live. So who knows? You'll probably see that. I may not
We're going to
do it
collab on
Tuesday
that.
Yes.
We're going to collab on that. There's going to be members only lives coming up on Gutters Pub and over here on Traveling Fools. So we'll just both make it members only, and we're going to have some laughs on those.
Yeah, it'd be like
they'll
a members
rocking
only
the
hangout
core.
session.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does
rocking
Marv
the
have
core.
a members only jacket you can wear?
I've got three
Right.
of them. I've got 3 of them. I still have 3 members only. I've even got a pair of parachute pants, not the baggy ones, the real ones, the tight ones with the zippers everywhere. I might even wear those.
Your parachute pants.
Oh, yeah, you know that.
That's
Hey,
funny.
you know I've got the outfits to go with the
Oh,
attitude.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And probably the wigs as well.
I do. Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yes. I'm never mind. I'm not going to make that joke and ruin this anymore talking about
I was
wigs.
just going to say I really pity Mrs. Fools about bedtime.
Yeah, I pity the Mrs. Fools. I pity the Mrs. Fools.
That's
What
right.
about you? What about you? So everybody do make sure you are subbed up to Gutters Pub, whether you are on watching over here. We shout out to all the people watching on X, and make sure everybody subs up to Gutters Pub on YouTube. LW, you got any fun stuff coming up for us? What do you got?
I don't know, man. I might go live here in a little while if we're not careful. But just sub up if you want to, and turn the notifications on. You never know when I'll go live. Probably not a lot, but
See, if you was to go set that up while we're talking, and then we could transfer our lives over to you. But
you could drop the link. We'll talk in the back. I'm debating it, but we need to drop that link so people can sub up who aren't, just in case.
He's gonna LW it.
Well, somebody type in LW into the chat. I've got that cool stuff over here. I don't know if Gutters has that, but
I don't.
Yeah,
You've
well.
never set up my Nightbot. You're
So I have
supposed
to do
it.
this for you
Yes.
too. Goddamn, I have to do
Because
everything for everybody.
Everything.
It's totally it's his
Everything.
responsibility to run your channel.
It is. Damn it.
Everything's on me. We are going. Look at that LW. The Gutters types in LW over here instantly. LW right there gives his Cash App as well and his YouTube channel right there underneath it. We got our shit going on over here. We don't know what goes on all these other people's channels, but over here on Traveling Fools, we've got our shit together. We will be having Trivia Night back again. We have been out of town. We've got a lot of stuff. I went and interviewed people. Y'all are going to love this. Through South Beach, through the Florida Keys, through the Florida, like everywhere, getting the honest response from so many people, wondering our fun question, which we didn't ask Bobby. God damn it, we forgot.
I know we forgot to ask Mishka. We forgot to ask Bobby.
I know, and Mishka
Yep.
too. Yeah, we slacked off on that one. But I do have honest on photo or on camera responses from all these people. Did we or did we not land on the moon? So I've got those coming for us. A whole video going to put out about that, but we'll play it on here as well. But we do have trivia coming back this Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Fun live chat trivia night. It is interactive, so 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. We've got programs that run it. It's a whole lot of fun. So everybody do make sure you sub up over here as well. Anybody else got any last words?
Nope. Till next time.
I just got program notes for next week.
Okay.
So Baker, tell us about next week.
Yeah, so next week we will have another special guest. We are going to be discussing anything from UFO technologies to 0 point energy to Tesla to a lot of things. I came across this channel on YouTube, and he does a lot of fascinating stuff. So next week's going to be a good show. I can't wait for it. So yeah, be here.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I don't know a lot about that, but this guy seems super interesting. What is his name again?
Well, he goes by, gosh, you had to pull me up on
Old
on
Man
on the spot
Building
for
or
it.
something like that?
Yeah, it's Old Man Building. That's what his YouTube channel is. But I don't know what he wants me to call him, so I'll just leave it
He's
at
got
that.
like two or three channels, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's going to simul stream on his channels
It'll be
too.
awesome.
So we'll be getting some different. We'll be getting a lot of different views from his side too. So it'll be interesting cross pollinating that. And yeah, we'll be next week. Come on in. We'll be dropping his link to his channel, so definitely sub up to him. But yeah, we still got to go through all the, how we're going to do this. We still got production meetings coming up to handle all this. But yeah, just tune in next week and enjoy a little bit of a UFO show.
Yep.
And we love the UFOs. All right, anybody got any last words?
Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good weekend, and everybody, it's been a crazy week, but just show other people some grace. Be nice to people. Most people on Earth are good people. Stay off the internet a little bit. If you feel some hate boiling up and stuff, just back away. There's enough idiots out there doing all the hate. Just go out there and be nice to people. The world's a lot better than you think. That's all.
And hug your loved
100%.
ones.
Yeah. Hug your mama and daddy, as the great BVD used to say. All right, guys, we are going out. We do thank everybody for being here. Please say goodbye in the chat. Let everybody know you love them, and have a great night. It's, Friday night. We might pop back up in a minute, so keep your eyes on. We'll see what's going on. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We love each and every one of you. God bless, and thank you so much for Mishka coming on tonight. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Mishka.
Thanks,
Really
Mishka.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Mishka.
Have a good weekend.
Mishka's awesome. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night.